People practice meditation for many reasons. Some people do it for health, others do it to calm their mind, for psychological well-being, and many people do it for spiritual growth. And a lot of people do it for all three of those reasons. And meditation is just one portion of an entire system. And the point of that system is to experience a state of oneness, a state of freedom from identification with the mind and circumstances. And when someone experiences this, in Sanskrit that term is samadhi. So by experiencing samadhi, you have an experience of oneness, an experience of being beyond the mind, an experience of no longer identifying with circumstances, people, situations. And so you are free to know what you are at the core and the essence of your being. In the Yoga Sutras, chapter 1, verse 21, Patanjali writes that for one whose progress is fast and whose practice is intensive, samadhi is near. Sutra 22 reads, "Progress is in accord with intensity of practice, whether mild, medium, or extremely intensive." Now we need to get a sense of what is this intensity. Intensity means that the majority of your time, the majority of your awareness, the majority of your consciousness is devoted to experiencing this state of clarity and this state of peace. So what is mild intensity? Someone who practices with mild intent. This could be someone who meditates once a day, 20 minutes to 30 minutes in the morning or the evening. And yet the rest of their life, they live normally as they have been, such as relating to people which are not supportive of their worthwhile endeavors, or people who just make them feel bad. Entertainment is still the same, watching TV, clogging up the mind and emotions with dramatic events, these sorts of things. And they eat the same things, not very healthy food, probably, maybe. And they don't exercise very much. Someone interested in experiencing clarity of awareness, who practices mildly, may meditate, may say they're interested in growth and in change and in clarity, but they don't really show it so much in their behaviors. Someone whose practice is of medium intensity. This could be someone who meditates more often, again, once or twice a day, maybe a little longer than 20 to 30 minutes. And they have a regular yoga routine, or they have a regular exercise routine, so the body's healthy. They may be aware of their diet, and they may be aware of what they feed their senses through entertainment, good wholesome entertainment versus entertainment which stimulates the emotions, the mind, to an extreme. This person is doing a fairly good job in this endeavor. Now, someone who's extremely intensive. This is a person who commits as much of their conscious awareness, as much of their time as possible to experiencing clarity, to experiencing what they are. Someone who practices extremely intensively. This person meditates regularly. They have a consistent schedule. They exercise in a way that is useful for them, so that their body is strong and healthy and energetic. And also they get plenty of rest, so that they do not overdo it. Someone practicing in this way is very aware of the people that they surround themselves with and the effects that these people have on them. So they choose people which are supportive of their endeavors, and they choose people which are pleasant to be around and supportive of what they're trying to do. Their diet is healthy for them, nutrition rich, low calorie, getting enough for what they need, for what their life calls for. Maybe primarily vegetarian, but the diet is mainly a whole foods diet overall. Not a lot of processed foods, not a lot of foods to clog up the insides. In Ayurveda, they have the term ama, which is undigested food mass. which is said to clog the channels within the body. And when those channels are clogged, the mind becomes dulled, the body becomes sluggish, and it's hard for us to stay alert and awake, yet relaxed. This person is also very aware of their thinking, how they think, what they think about, because they know that whatever they think about, whatever they allow in their minds, whether by actively thinking about something or by just letting old memories, old thoughts, old habits and patterns run through their mind, they know that all of this has an influence on their state of consciousness. So thoughts or feelings of despair or doubt, lack of confidence, all these they do their best to banish. They try to think positively, be optimistic. They feel that good fortune is common, it is the norm, it is what typically happens. And so in this way, the extremely intensive person is able to set up a situation where their mind, their body, their social environment, their food, their internal environment, everything is moving in a direction towards experiencing this clarity. And the stronger this practice becomes, the easier it becomes, and the quicker they experience results. So when we begin meditation, the first thing we want to do is start with a technique which helps to calm the mind and the emotions. This technique could be a mantra, a word, phrase. It could be breath awareness. It could even be a form of contemplation, such as your idea of God or the divine, or contemplation on what you are really, beyond this mind and body, beyond all these circumstances. But whatever it is, it needs to be suited to what you are able and capable of doing. So if your mind is crazy, running 1,000,000 miles a minute, the first step might be to use a mantra. And use the mantra in such a way that you are able to become calm and still. And that might take a few days, a few weeks, a few months, a few years of consistent practice with this mantra. But you need to do what you need to do to experience that mental calm. So once the mind is calm through a practice such as mantra, then we can incorporate other practices such as breath awareness, although you could do that with the mantra. This helps to relax the body and also energize it, so you're relaxed yet alert. And again, practicing in this way, being able to sit quietly with your attention fully present, not falling asleep, not daydreaming, not thinking about too much. Once you get to that stage, then you can practice contemplation of the self, contemplation on God. Whatever it is you want to know, you can contemplate that until you experience the knowledge of what you're contemplating. Ramana Maharshi was once asked, are there no other means for quieting the mind other than mantra and breath awareness and whatnot? And Ramana replied, with the practice of breath control, meditation on the forms of God, repetition of mantras, restriction on food, etc., are but aids for rendering the mind quiet. And of all the restrictive rules, that relating to the taking of sattvic food in moderate quantities is the best. By observing this rule, the sattvic quality of the mind will increase, and that will be helpful to self-inquiry and meditation. So sattvic foods, these are foods which are whole foods. They're unprocessed as possible. Usually, they're fruits, vegetables, grains, nuts, seeds, etc. And the term sattvic means that which is illuminating and light, pleasant, sweet. It is a state of clarity. Sattva is a state of clarity. So foods that are sattvic promote this. The other types of foods are rajasic and tamasic foods. Tamasic foods dull the awareness. They dull the mind. They make the body sluggish and heavy. Processed foods do this. Most meats do this. Things with lots of chemicals and additives. Some people say onions and garlic are tamasic and also rajasic food. But you need to pay attention to your diet and see what is it that you eat which promotes lightness, clarity, peace of mind, feeling good, basically. And what promotes this lethargy, which is a tamasic food. And you want to cut out the tamasic foods. Also with rajasic foods, these are stimulating foods such as chocolate, coffee, spicy foods, sometimes oily foods, anything which really stimulates the digestive system, stimulates the nervous system, makes a person feel restless, anxious, sometimes angry, these sorts of things. And foods do have this effect on you, so we need to experience and pay attention to what foods do what for us. And again, sometimes rajasic foods are necessary. If we are in a sluggish or an inert state, it might be okay for occasionally to eat some rajasic foods to help perk us up, to help energize us, to make us more motivated. However, that's not meant to be a crutch, and it's not meant to be like a drug. That is just supposed to be an occasional situation. Because if we're eating sattvic foods, we will have this lightness about us. When we get up in the morning, we'll feel clear-headed. We'll just wake up. We'll go about our day doing our things, thinking clearly and rationally, and we won't need to be overstimulated. So, in the long run, what we want to be doing is aiming towards doing whatever it takes to align our life so that we can experience a state of clarity and oneness and peace. And again, that has to do with the people we surround ourselves with. We can know if a person is supportive of that by paying attention to how we feel around them, by paying attention to what mental and emotional states they bring up within us. We also need to look at exercise. We need to be strong and healthy and fit. We don't want to overdo it. We don't want to overtrain. When you overtrain, you do too much exercise, you're more cranky, you have more of a tendency to not sleep well, a little more restless and stimulated, very rajasic. The next thing we want to look at is food. What foods are we eating? How does it affect us? How does it affect our body, our mind, our psychology? And again, this takes a little bit of awareness to experience, but by paying attention, we can note what foods are good for us and what foods aren't. Also, we want to look at our meditation practice, our meditation routine. Are we consistent with it? Are we stable with it? Do we do it every day, whether we like it or not? Do we do it as duty? In time, what happens is the meditation becomes almost like getting into a hot bath. It's comfortable, it's rejuvenating, it's refreshing. So it takes a little while to get there sometimes, but that's what we're aiming for. We want to make sure, again, we do it every single day. And then we want to be progressive with our meditation. Remember that practicing mantra, breath awareness, etc., these are all good tools. But what we're really trying to aim to do is to be fully present, to be just pure consciousness, pure experience. Or even going beyond that, being able to just be where we are. And so by practicing the meditation routines, the techniques, we calm the mind and emotions so that we can just simply be there. And so pay attention as you meditate and let go of the mantra from time to time, let go of the pranayama, the breath awareness from time to time, and simply sit. It's helpful to sit with your attention in your frontal lobes of your brain, the forehead, just feel that area, or even just sit with the attention at the crown of the head. Just simply sit there and be for as long as you can. And then when thoughts, memories, emotions arise again, you can start over with your meditation technique. But again, as time goes by, you should be able to sit longer and longer and longer in that stillness. And that is probably one of the most advanced procedures, but also the hardest, even though it's the easiest, because all you're doing is sitting. So everything else is preparation for that.